So what I've decided to do for the next couple of one of my videos is basically just critique Monkey Kid Season 5, because I don't like Monkey Kid Season 5. And where do I even start with it? Well, let's start with the animation. What you can very obviously see from the start is a complete downgrade to the other 4 seasons. And that is because LEGO switched the animation studio from Flying Bark Productions, which handled the first 4 seasons, to WildBrain, which handles some of the best 2D puppet animation I've ever seen, and also their LEGO Ninjago TV show that's running right now. And no shame to WildBrain or anyone who works there, but because of how hard LEGO is crunching them, they cannot reach their full potential. Like I said before, they're some of the best puppet animation I've ever seen. But Monkey Kid Season 5 is very much not it. It is horrible. The animation is janky, the characters look weird. I can't even tell what expressions they're making. Nothing looks right. And sometimes they'll use 3D models instead of 2D ones, just like how Flying Bark did it, but they won't make it look like it's 2D, like how Flying Bark did. It just is straight up 3D model, so it looks really out of place. And because of the animation switch, and the fact that they're not Flying Bark, they have no room to use fight scenes inside their storytelling. So the entire season avoids doing fight scenes because they don't have the budget for it or the time. And so that negatively affects the story, because at some points throughout the season, you're like, this should be a fight scene and that would work way better, but then they just have to avoid that fight scene completely because they don't have the budget for that. The reason why Flying Bark Productions made such a big impact on Monkey Kid isn't just because they were just some animation studio that you can replace. They put their heart and soul into Monkey Kid. They made Monkey Kid during 2020, which was when the entire world went into lockdown. And they went, we're going to put our entire hope for the future into the animation of this show. And that is what they did. And that is why it looks so good. That is why it is one of my favorite TV shows of all time, is because of how much effort and love they put into this show that they cared for. They weren't just the animators. They even helped on some of the writing. They would think of a funny joke to put in that they could do, and then they would just do it. And that is what made Monkey Kid, was Flying Bark. Because without them, you lose the humor of the show, you lose the animation, you lose the character. It feels like the soul of the show is gone because of Flying Bark leaving. If you look at what is officially stated, it said that there was scheduling conflicts between LEGO and Flying Bark, so they couldn't have them on for a 5th season. But when you actually look at it, Flying Bark unionized just before that happened, which means LEGO could not put so much crunch time on them for the season 5 and get these seasons out faster and faster, considering the fact that they were making over a season of Monkey Kid's animation in under a year. They'd be working on multiple seasons at once just to be able to do this, and they'd still have to cut corners. When Flying Bark unionized, LEGO probably thought that they weren't worth keeping around, and that the animation isn't as big of a part of the show as it is, and people would just keep watching it because it's a recognizable IP. But when they took out Flying Bark, they took out way more than just the style of the show. They took everything that Monkey Kid had left. Season 5 is not Monkey Kid. No matter how hard anyone tries to say it is not. It just isn't. And there's nothing you can do now. Because of how bad Season 5 is, in regards to everything, right now I'm just covering the animation part, it's impossible to get invested. Like, my suspension of disbelief while watching the season is at super low because nothing works. None of these characters feel in character because they don't have the writers that they had. They don't have the animators that they have. So when a character, they might sound the same, but they don't look the same, they don't act the same. And that takes a huge impact on your ability to get invested into these characters again, because you're basically starting on a completely different show with a fraction of the writing quality. Flying Bark is the reason why I even got invested into the show in the first place. It was because of their animation and their humor in the show that all I needed to do was see seconds of it and already be completely invested in this show and in this world and in these characters. But now that they're gone, it's not the same show anymore. It's soulless. It has no purpose of existing other than to sell toys. But before, it was a story that was being told. Now, it feels pointless. And what sucks is the fact that the animation isn't the worst part about the season. That easily goes to the writing. I won't be covering that in this video today because I want to be saving that for when I go throughout every episode of the show and nitpicking every single detail that I don't like about it. So tune in next time for that. But to see a show fall from as high that Monkey Kid was and then drop to where it is now is heartbreaking, because now the show, in all intents and purposes, doesn't exist. The Monkey Kid that I knew is gone, and it probably won't ever come back because of the decisions that were made at LEGO. And so I probably just won't even be watching the next seasons. And the only reason that I will be watching them is to either see if the writing gets better or to criticize it again. In conclusion, the animation's terrible, the writing's terrible, the direction that they take the show is terrible, the handling of characters, terrible, the way that they use the story of Chinese mythology, terrible. Nothing feels like it should be there. So if you haven't watched Monkey Kid Season 5, don't! Because it is not worth the effort that it takes to watch something as painful as this. Especially if you like the first 4 seasons, or just the first 3 seasons, don't watch Monkey Kid Season 5. It is not worth it. If you guys agree with me or disagree with me, leave in the comments. I will continue on doing this until I have finished the season. So if you guys want to see more of this, then feel free to subscribe. See you guys next time. Spiker out.